Hey guys, Kevin here to bring you a new video today, where today I'm going to bring you day number 6 of Horror October. So yeah, I had to watch this film late last night because I just didn't quite have time, and now I'm tired because I stayed up late watching it, but that's all good. But yeah, I'll go over what I watched yesterday. I watched a movie called House on Haunted Hill. It was from the 50s. Another 50s movie, just like A Thing from Another World. And now I'm starting to see like some of I guess the different like elements of what made a horror movie back then. Like what makes it unique. So yeah, I'll get into that, but I'll also get into like how I like the film. Yeah, it was pretty good. It had Vincent Price in it. What I will just say is definitely a staple of the horror film genre. In the 50s and 60s and 70s, I guess too. I think it was mainly the 50s and 60s that he was like really into horror, which is when he was like a little older, which was interesting. But yeah, he did a lot of great horror films like The Last Man on Earth, The Pit and the Pendulum, House on Haunted Hill, House of Wax, the original House of Wax, not that weird ass remake. The original House of Wax was a lot different from the new one, I will say. But yeah, he's had a career in horror that's been pretty lengthy and good. But interestingly enough, in this film, I wouldn't really say he was the main character. Um, Even though he was kind of billed as it. I don't know. It more or less centered around this woman who came into this house with a bunch of people to like stay as like a guest, and she ends up like getting really scared because people are basically trying to scare her by like playing these like evil pranks to make her think the house is like haunted or like the crazy shit is happening. But I'll get into that. But yeah, basically, I'd say it more or less centers around this female protagonist named Nora. I mean, Vincent Price definitely does play a role in this movie, especially towards the end. But yeah, it was really good though. I liked how um, the horror elements that it incorporated, and for a 50s movie, I'd say it was pretty decently scary. Not really scary, but like the way they like made it kind of scary was good with like the score, as well as just like creepy faces that they saw, because like basically what was happening was um, it looked like they were seeing like ghosts um, around the house, and they were saying it was like haunted, and basically there was no escape from there after midnight, so they couldn't leave the house, so they were stuck there for some reason because Frederick, played by Vincent Price, basically just says you can't get out of here after midnight. So they're stuck there, and they encounter like these ghosts, I guess. I'm not even sure if they were actually ghosts because there was also like some like trickery going on between Frederick's wife and another guy who was trying to like fool them into thinking that they were dying or people were dying, because it starts out with they show someone hanging themselves and they make them think that they're really dead, but it turns out they had like this special outfit on that made it so that they wouldn't die from it, I guess, or it was like a fake noose outfit. I forget, but it was like they wore something that like made it so they could look like they were hanging themselves, but they really weren't. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, basically, they're plotting against this girl to like scare her, and there's some freaky shit going on, and eventually, Vincent Price has to come in and yeet like he always does in all his movies. He comes in and saves the day because they were trying to play tricks on her, but little did they know that Vincent Price had a few tricks up his sleeve. My man comes in the clutch. He comes through and plays some tricks on them, and he he first gave them guns with blanks, and she shot a gun at him, Nora, the main character, but it actually had a blank. So he fooled her into thinking that he was dead when he wasn't, and then he actually tricked them into falling into this vat of like acid, I guess. And yeah, like it was just like really clever, just Vincent Price, just being Vincent Price. But yeah, it was pretty cool setting. I liked how it was all set in like this house, and it had like a basement in it that was kind of like eerie, I guess, and it had like this creepy room where like this guy gets locked in at one point, and yeah, it was a good setting. Not the most like extremely enjoyable film for me. I mean, I've not to be like judgmental against like old movies, but it was definitely a lot different of like pace. I wasn't like super into it, but it was a good movie. Don't get me wrong, it was a good movie, but I did want to talk about like some different like things in horror that I found funny, because as I mentioned in what was the movie? Lights Out. They had the whole door jamming cliche where like the door gets jammed and they can't get out. Well, guess what? In this 1959 movie, they had the door jam cliche. But except in this, it didn't really feel like a cliche because it was an older movie. So it's kind of funny to think, we've come that far in cinema and they're still doing that. Like in this, and she's like all dramatic about it. She's like, "Oh my god, the door is locked. I can't open it. It's locked." I'm like, is it though? It looks like you're just trying to like turn the handle, and it's somehow locked on you by this ghost. Because ghosts mysteriously lock doors like it's nobody's business. But okay, cool. It's just like funny how that works. And then like, just the fact that like I find it funny in horror. Like I think it's good for it because they didn't have a lot to really like emphasize like the horrific moments. It's just funny how like in the more horrific moments the music is so like dramatic, like it's like it's like so dramatic, like you're just like okay, but yeah, like I mean it makes sense because like back in those days, like in the early days of film, all you really had to use was music. All you really had at your disposal to put in a movie was music, especially even in silent films you had music. So music was always incorporated a lot into film, from the get-go. But I mean, especially in the early days, it had to be used in film because there wasn't a whole lot to use to make it scary. So it's just interesting how it was like very dramatically used. When something like even just a little like horrifying is going on, like they do it to like grab your attention and emphasize the fact that there's something scary going on, which I think is cool. Um, and yeah, also just like I always find it interesting. Like, um, I mean, I guess it happens in new horror movies too, but like, especially in like old horror movies, I feel like you have the classic horror movies where just like I feel like everything climactic happens at the last few minutes of the film, and there's not really any credits, so like you're literally watching the climax of the movie like in the last like 2 minutes of the playtime. So like everything crazy happens all at once, and like and films were definitely a lot shorter back then, so they would end up like cramming a lot into that end part. Where like I feel like with this one specifically, even like they spent a lot of time definitely building the characters up with like how they interacted with each other. Like Nora, like she had like a guy that she liked, Lance, who she hung around, and he gets into trouble and she has to like help him out, and he helps her out in times, stuff like that. But yeah, and then like I just have to say, like, imagine living in a time where it doesn't matter what color clothes you wear because you're in a black and white film. That's just like weird to think about. Like, okay, can I wear this purple dress? I mean, it doesn't matter, But yeah, go for it. Like, like it doesn't matter. But like, yeah. I didn't mind the fact that this film is black and white at all though. I liked it. I used to, I don't know, black and white films have grown on me over time. They didn't weren't I wasn't like extremely fond of them back in the day, but this film was still great, even though it was black and white. It's 1959, so if it really wanted to be, it could have been color, but it just decided not to be. Whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, that's my review. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Sorry it's not like really like substantial, like big deal movie, but I'll probably try to bring you like a more well-known movie tomorrow. But yeah. All right. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more. I'll see you guys in the next one.